So, I want to ask you something. What does it take to create 666 illustrations? Is it talent? Time? Definitely time. Diligence? Is it thirst? I believe it's determination, mental fortitude, and befriending failure. Every line, every color, every pixel in these 666 illustrations creates the mosaic of my journey as an artist. But this story is not just about art. It's about survival. It's about self-discovery and the pursuit of hopefully something greater than myself. Hi, I'm Beni, and this is my journey as an artist, as a creative, as an illustrator, and as a person who's just trying to find her way in the world. If you watched my previous failure video from 6 months ago and you are subscribed, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to engage and give your time and your eyes to that video. I just want to say that I'm grateful for everybody who's commented such kind words and who's subscribed to see and follow my journey. I'm grateful for you. I didn't expect this growth on my YouTube channel at all. So thank you for you. If you're new here, welcome. This is the Namabeni Channel. My name is Beni and I'm an artist, illustrator, creative. And I am the person behind the brand ONIBENI. I draw OCs, juicy babes, and muscular lads. Mostly muscular lads.
You don't really see this
Ever since I was a kid, I would always be drawing. Instead of socializing or playing outside, I would be playing with my crayons or just trying to doodle something. I think that is natural for any child. But even as I progressed into primary school, I was always drawn to drawing and illustrations. And I want to say that I've been drawing all my life. And in high school, every time that it's summer vacation, I would be so excited because I can just stay in my room, pull up my foldable table, and just draw every day, all day. That's what I did. But I only really started sharing my art with intentions of being an artist in 2017. And back then, I had no brand, no positioning, no strategy, and I was just drawing girls using watercolor. It wasn't until 2019 that ONIBENI truly came to life as my audience know it today. And I am proud to say that in my career as a full-time illustrator, have amassed over 600 finished illustrations. Of course, that number doesn't really include all the practice sketches, all the rejected sketches, all the rejected commission sketches, abandoned drawings, and many others. Getting here wasn't really easy. It took sheer determination, mental fortitude, and a willingness to fail, like literally. Chapter 1. I wasn't always a full-time illustrator. And I want to say that I was thrown into the real world way ahead of my peers. I had to work from a younger age than most people. And for many years, I worked for the sole purpose of survival. I didn't have parents or family to support me and my dreams of becoming an artist. I didn't go to art school, and I didn't really have any opportunities for me as a young person who was dreaming of becoming an artist. I worked for many years and I have experience in sales, customer service, marketing, specifically branding marketing, and I also worked as a graphic designer. In my last formal year of employment, I experienced a massive burnout. I was so thoroughly spent and exhausted and drained, and there were many days where I could feel my body physically rejecting the thought of me going into the office. I've experienced 13-hour, 15-hour work days. I've experienced having no day off for 9 straight days. I've worked for a lot of years with only one day off, and that really, I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. When you do something because you need to survive, and you're doing it because you need to, and you are trying to get somewhere and hoping that your situation will be better, you do something over and over and over and over again, and it takes a piece of yourself every time. And then you just hit this moment of like there's nothing else to give. And that's what I felt. And after my formal year of employment, I had a whole year where I wasn't functioning. I didn't get up in the morning. I just stayed in bed. My curtains were closed. I didn't shower. I didn't do anything because I was just wondering, like, is this what I get if I work this hard? And in that time, I thought about, what if I did something for me? I followed what my society told me was the right path. I went to college, I graduated, I got a good job that pays well, but in the end, there was no joy, satisfaction, or fulfillment. I guess that was a turning point for me. That's when I started looking inward. What is it that I wanted to do if I didn't have to earn money? And when you're exhausted and drained, it's hard to look for something in you because there's just nothing. I don't know if you felt this, but I felt nothing. I would spontaneously burst into tears because I would turn the frustration inward. It's like, why aren't you good enough? Why can't you just be XYZ? Why can't you just go into finance? Why can't you just not want this? Why can't you just like be happy where you are? That's what normal people do, right? It was a dark place. And I think one thing that helped me get out of that dark place was learning to use the tablet, the drawing tablet. I do know that if one is unhappy in their current situation, one should aim to remove themselves in that situation. And that's what I did. I made this scary decision to leave my old life. I left my job. I moved back to Europe just so I can live a more slow paced life. And that move gave me the time I needed to strategize my next journey, my journey into becoming a full time artist. Oh my God. But despite being a risk taker and having an all or nothing mentality, in one way or another, I needed to be realistic. And as as a POC woman living in a modern world that's both messed up and expensive, I needed to be reasonable. I needed some form of logic into this plan. That's why I gave myself a deadline and a hard goal. If in 5 years I can earn minimum wage from my art, it means that it's sustainable enough and that I can do this long term. I can keep going. That goal was my compass. Every project, every action, every post, it was all influenced by that goal. At the same time, my anxieties, my worries, my social media addiction was also fueled by that goal. And I was walking a tightrope between making it and failing. There was no area in between. In 2019, I started getting eyes on my work. I was slowly forming a community, and I was connecting with people from all over through my art. And I was unknowingly starting and launching a creative business just before the panini happened. So even though I was starting a new life in a place where I knew nobody, I had no support system, I was okay-ish because I was forming connections that kind of helped sustain this nomadic and hermit lifestyle that I was getting myself into. To say that it was a wild ride is an understatement. But through that process, I was able to start Patreon. I started taking commissions with confidence, and eventually I started making prints and then merch, and also got affiliate in Twitch because I started streaming. I was laying down the groundwork for potentially multiple streams of income for my creative business because I understood that relying on a single income as an artist is very risky and sometimes impossible. But I believe that I was somewhat prepared because I had background in branding and marketing, and I also worked as a graphic designer, which helped me carve this path. At least that's what I hope for. In my specific situation and with all the circumstances that was given to me, launching an art business wasn't like stepping into the unknown. It wasn't like I was diving into a deep ocean where I couldn't fully see. I kept going, and I kept trying to connect with my audience as genuinely as I can while balancing this life, being a functioning adult, maintaining a routine, and continuing to hone my craft and having a steady schedule. In 2022, I felt the need to run away. I felt burnt out by the panini and running this creative business. I was evaluating my progress with my goal, and I was disappointed that I was far from reaching my goal. And I actually, my earnings took a hit, and it really demotivated me. And then I told myself that I want to kind of, before I go on a break, I want to do something I've never done before, and that was to do events. So I did 1, 2, 3 events before I took a break for a year because of burnout. And I will talk about those events in a separate video. But for during my burnout phase, I felt that I didn't want to draw. And I didn't even want to engage in my community because it felt like I quit my job and I was still hanging out at the office. If you can imagine how that feels. That's how I felt. So I interacting with my community was painful for me because when they would share other artists, it would just make me feel guilty because I wasn't producing any work. And I know that that's all on me and it's not their fault, but it was really hard to kind of just understand that my community found me through my art, but they stayed because of me. And I'm kind of better with that now, and I wasn't as sad as before. Last year, I made a comeback, and I didn't make as much art as I used to. And I said, I really enjoyed events, and it was an opportunity for me to connect with a new audience. Because let me tell you something, just interacting with people who can see your art in its physical form is just so different compared to, people looking at it on a screen and double tapping or just like swiping away. It's a completely different experience. The energy is amazing. I love it. That's why I wanted to do more events, but it didn't really work out. Local events didn't have a place for me, and flying internationally for events is not that easy. It's expensive. So it's 5 years now for ONIBENI. I do believe that I put in the work. I really believe that I did. And along with managing a creative business and making sure that I was improving artistically, I read self-help books, I journal, I have a routine. I try balancing making stuff that is appealing to my audience and my community at the same time, something that I enjoy making. I've given it my everything. But here's the truth. Not everyone gets the streak of luck that they need to supercharge their efforts. Not everyone gets that lucky break, and that's just life. That's just how it is. And I'm happy for all the artists that come out of college or come out of quitting their job and they're successful, earning 5, 6 figures. I'm happy for them. But there, I want, if you're an artist, especially if you're a younger artist aspiring to do this, I want you to understand that they are the exception. And it it's very hard on your self-esteem and your self-worth metrics if you compare yourself to those big names, big artists who are doing so well. I'm happy for them. I really am. I really am. There is space for everyone. It's just that not everyone can be so lucky, which is life. I also want to point out that if you think that artists are in it for the money, you either don't know how it works, or and it's just like, if I wanted money, I would have stayed in Dubai. I would have, you know, worked in finance or something. Like, there are better ways to make money. And if one is aspiring to do creative work as their main bread and butter, I feel like the most unkind thing you can say is like, why can't you just work a normal job like everybody? And I did that. I worked hard. I worked hard. I had like one day off for like years. And I feel like I did my part. And that's why I am going to be selfish in pursuing the things that I want, because not everyone can be. And I feel like there's not a lot of us who are passionate and selfish and have the audacity to reach for what we want. And why? Why not? Why not? It's hard, but like, I also was having a hard time when I had a paycheck. I thought to myself that if I'm gonna struggle, I'd rather struggle doing what I love. I just want to say that I'm thankful because I have been very fortunate. I may not have the K next to my follower count on social, but I have found the most wonderful, kind, equally creative community. And they have been there since the beginning, and they are still here supporting me. That is amazing. I am so grateful. And no amount of followers and no amount of money can replace that. Thank you. Thank you. Really. I also believe firmly that I'm someone who is always willing to learn. I'm someone who will risk it for what I want. And I'm someone who jumps despite the fear. And I'm someone who is willing to create bad art because I know that the next one will be better. I also stand by my values as a person, as a brand, and I don't treat my clients or my customers as just pure transaction, especially in events. And I know that not everything can be translated through camera, through a vlog, but I believe that ONIBENI is an experience and not just a booth with muscular lads and juicy babes. ONIBENI is me. And if you've been to my booth, I know that you know exactly what I'm talking about. I am someone who genuinely wants to connect. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of me. My art has taught me so much about myself and brought me to many amazing people and experiences. And I'm proud of that. In this economy, though, it's tough. It is. And it's not just me, it's everybody. Everybody. So I'm not a full time illustrator anymore, but what are labels? What are labels? Maybe one day ONIBENI will have to close up shop. Maybe no one will subscribe to my Patreon or my Twitch anymore. When that happens, I'll probably be really sad about it. And I'll probably grieve about it for a long time. But I feel like no matter what kind of sinkhole I fall into, I will always be making things. And I feel like no matter how bad burnout gets me, I will find my way, and I will always find a way to be true to my identity as an artist. So, what's next? What's next for me? I've been enjoying making videos and being on YouTube, and I've rediscovered my love for photography. I'm in the middle of a few projects, and I'm also learning to let go of old ideas, old goals, old values that don't really serve me anymore, and especially old expectations. It's hard, but it's necessary. I'm excited. I'm excited for the growth and potential of Namabeni and this YouTube channel and all the ideas that I have. I'm learning a new craft and I'm hoping to go into a new industry. It's scary because I have no idea what I'm doing, but I am always excited to be a student. What about ONIBENI? ONIBENI will always be here. It's a part of me, and it's helped me grow into the person that I am. The goals might shift, the vision might change, the subject might change, but to its core, it's still me. And I hope that whatever medium I decide to use in the future, you would still feel the core. That's me. So, yeah, I hope this story has given you some comfort or just accompanied you while you do your chores. I want to just remind you that you're not chasing anyone, you're not behind anybody, and this is your journey. You're here. You're living your own unique journey, and it's not a race. The path isn't a straight line. My journey has been full of zigzags, dotted lines, squiggles, rewrites, a lot of mess, a lot of crying, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But I believe that's what makes it so beautiful. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of me. And your journey is yours, no one else's. Be proud of that. Be proud of you. If this resonated with you, and if you're on your own creative journey, I'd love to hear your story. Thank you for watching, and let's do our best, and let's keep creating together.